What's up, everyone? Here on a nice Saturday afternoon. Today was the finals of the five-star Grand Prix. Of course, I am your host, as always, Scott Edwards of the Five-Star Joe Show here on the Fight Game Media Network. Thank you to anyone joining me post or currently or later on. If you're listening to this, thank you so much. The support means the world to me. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. I don't know how many people will be able to jump in. Of course, Saturdays are a busy day, but this is the best time for me to do it. So, again, if you're watching this after the fact, before the fact, thank you so much. I'm excited to get into this. Continue to share your comments throughout the show. Let me know how you liked the show. Because the five-star Grand Prix Finals is one of the biggest shows of the year in the world of Joshi, in the world of Stardom, in the world of pro wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. And this year, to get here was a difficult one. Of course, 3 matches were scrapped for the final night. I'm not feeling all that great either. So, it's a great combination. But if you are here live right now, feel free to share your thoughts on the show as we go along each match. I'm going to break them all down, hopefully, have some guests on later on in the show, aiming for an hour and a half or so. So, not too long. Of course, I say that could be longer, but that's okay. Let's see who we got in the chat already. We got Bobby. Hello. Let's go, Hazuki, for the white belt agenda starts. I think a lot of people have probably started that, but you know what? You are absolutely right. Getting into Stardom was one of the best decisions I ever made. Show was incredible. Yes. The point of my show, if you are listening, is that's all I want people to do is get into Stardom, because they make you invest, they make you get into it. It is one of the best investments you can have in the pro wrestling world. Brad, welcome. Hello. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bobby says enjoyed the five-star Grand Prix. The promo in Japanese by Mirai. Yes, we will get to Mariah May and her, what I thought was a fantastic send off for her. Jeff, listen, Mayu wasn't going to lose to SLK. Okay, that was never going to happen. I fully believe it. That big win for SLK, that will come one way or the other somewhere down the line. It's just a matter of when. But let's jump into this show, shall we? I'm not gonna make you wait much longer. We're gonna get right into it. We're gonna get right into the five-star Grand Prix 2023 finals. The show had over I think it was 2,700 fans in attendance. I should have that number, but it's okay. Like I said, it's been a long day already. But we got to start off. The only right place to start off, like Jeff brought up, is that Starlight Kid was injured. She had to be removed from the five-star Grand Prix finals, leading to Mayu Iwatani having to compete in the Battle Royal to open the show on the pre-show. You can go check that out on Stardom's YouTube channel. And a very unfortunate loss. Obviously, we had already lost Saya Kamatani versus Suzu Suzuki. We had already lost Utami versus Julia, and now we lost Mayu versus Starlight Kid. For my money heading into this show, that was my top 3 once upon a time. When this tournament started, when the final night was announced, that was my final, that's my top 3. Those are the top 3 matches I was most anticipating. So losing all 3 of them, just a massive hit. But I never doubt the Stardom roster and what they get to do, because what the Stardom roster does so well is deliver. They always deliver, no matter who you put in that spot. And Starlight Kid, it looked like after her match at New Blood 11, which I can't wait to watch, that she was icing her foot/ankle. So it looks like that seemed to be what she injured. I wouldn't be too shocked. I remember her coming up a little bit gingerly all the way back in the Dream Tag Festival match where she teamed with Asami. But automatically unfortunate. By default, you weren't going to have Julia in a big match, no Mayu in a big match. Of course, we'll get to Suzu Suzuki and how that changed by the end of the night. So did SLK get injured? So I think she likely re-aggravated an injury, if I had to guess. That's what I think, because I remember her coming up gingerly. Whether it was yesterday or one of the past few shows that she had, she definitely is banged up. Hopefully it's not too bad. We wish all these wrestlers come back sooner rather than later. Yes, so thank you, Matt. Sunny said it was the Dream Tag Festival show. So that's where I remember her coming up gingerly. She was fighting through it. That match with Shuri, I'm sure she probably re-aggravated it. She fought through New Blood, so an absolute trooper. She made sure to get to the big title match, which was her bigger match of the weekend. With this match having no stakes, it makes sense as to why you don't have her compete in it, especially if she's banged up. Safety more than anything. Brad loved it. My first 5-star was everything I could have asked for. Well, I'm happy to hear that, because I think, to me, it was another killer 5-star Grand Prix. We've had 3 years of greatness, and we'll get to how I feel about the final compared to previous years later on. The roster is stacked. Never thought Mariah May would have had more points than SLK. As Dylan mentions, Hanan also accidentally got more points than SLK. And Dylan adds she'd been hurt for a while. So yes, obviously injuries changed a lot of this. Hanan ends up with a better record. I think Starlight Kid, sadly, was the one that got the short end of the stick when it comes to the injury to Saya Kamatani. She became the person to make up for points here and there. I know Saya gave up free points, but she probably got a lot less wins, and maybe she was scheduled to do so. She got one official win in this tournament, one, and that was a win over Natsuko Tora. That was the only official win she got. She got a free win over Saya Kawatani, and other than that, nothing. So a tough run for Starlight Kid. Like I said, we wish for her to come back with a speedy recovery. The show kicked off with a battle royal. It was designed essentially around Megan Bayne. Obviously, Megan Bayne is this big, powerful force. Someone who they pretty much focused on the entire match and trying to take out, kind of like you would see in a Royal Rumble with one of the taller, powerful heavyweight wrestlers. Big Show used to have those types of things, but Megan Bayne was absolutely wrecking. I think Megan Bayne has been such a great add to this roster. She doesn't have that many big matches. She's in tags all the time, but I think her presence and what she's helped create, it differentiates her from the rest of the pack. Ultimately, in the end, it was Suzu Suzuki getting the win, and that's when I started just, it kind of started to click for me in my head that, okay, well, they're keeping her strong for later in the night, perhaps. And once the match card was revealed in the order of the matches, I think that kind of gave me a lot more hope, because I'll admit, people, as a humongous Suzu Suzuki fan, she is one of my absolute favorite wrestlers in the world. I'd given up hope heading into this show. I truly did. I expected maybe a TAM win. That's the safest thing. They could obviously go with Micah. I just thought because she wasn't wrestling in a big match on the final night, maybe we weren't going to get to her. But I did say if she were to get to the final, she had to win. And I know we're going to have a lot of conversation about this as we get later in the show. But let's see. Oh, this is a good point. Plug Pager Maya had no real match, so she said, "Look at my gear." She had incredible gear, which is such a shame, right? Because it's like she was gonna have a great match with Starlight Kid. That goes without saying. And she cut a promo after the Battle Royal, pretty much saying, "I'm going to defend the IWGP title overseas." Of course, Dave Meltzer reported that she is planning, or it is planned, that she defends the title at the Lone Star Showdown, whatever it's called, in Garland, Texas, later this year. So that looks like she will be where she does the match, and she said she's waiting for challengers, so something to look forward to there. Bobby, I like to see Tekla in the 5-star. I would agree. All the injuries actually made the pre-show Rumble more stacked than I thought it would have been. Yeah, I I hate that it had to be stacked, because I wanted those big 3 matches. Like, those were as good as it gets, those 3 matches that they missed out on. The bright side, especially with Julia and Utami, is you're not going to give away that first ever singles match now, right? Because when Utami got hurt, and it wasn't going to be given away if she was in contention on this final night, but once she was out of contention, to me, this was the right choice. So that's kind of the way I've chose to look at it, because it's the best way without being very upset about the result. Mayu, Julie, and Suzu in pre-show battle royal, polar bear in Texas meme. That's a good one. That's very true. After SLK beat Tora, I thought she was going deep in it. Yeah, she had a really tough run. Ironic, it was Suzu and May last. Yeah, Suzu absolutely launched May Sarah to eliminate her. I was like, oh, all right. Let's see. But let's get back to the show. I think the best way to dive into this is just by going match after match, obviously. So we're going to start with Hanan versus Mariah May. Mariah May's final match in her Stardom excursion or Stardom trip, her 9-month run. She made a great point that, she told her, I believe it was her niece, that she'd be gone for 3 months. The opportunity came to stay longer, and she took it, as she should. She is, like I said, a mega star in the making. I've said this many, 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 many times, and she has deserved every bit of praise she received. The match with Hanan was a special one. It's not going to be on anyone's match of the year list, not going to be on your match of the night list, most likely, but they went out there and they kicked off the show with a bang, kicked off the main card with a bang. And I think when it comes to, and anyone in the comments, you could kind of give your thoughts on Mariah May's overall run in the 5-star or Stardom, because I think we all agree she killed it. But her losing to Hanan was really a nice touch to close out her run, because naturally they created such a cool and inviting relationship with one another. One that, I don't know if that was expected. When Mariah May debuted last year at Stardom Dream Queendom, I think a lot of people just assumed one thing. And by, I want to say, April, she started to prove a lot of people that, okay, there's a lot to Mariah May. I think that's when a lot of people were turned around about her, and she really, really killed it. Like, she had so many strong matches. The match with Julia in the 5-star Grand Prix, I think, will go down as her best, at least singles wise. But she was able to win tag titles with Mina Shirakawa, which was awesome. She just was an absolute star from start to finish. And you can't beat what Stardom's able to do for these wrestlers. Not only are they able to train them up and help them get better, but at the same time, they give them an opportunity to wrestle with the best in the world and prove what they have and what it takes, right? Jamie Hayter, Tony Storm, those two came into Stardom, and look at them now. They are two of the top stars in women's wrestling in America. And I think Mariah May's run is as good as any foreign wrestler that we've seen. I think the foreign ace has locked in her position in that respect. I'm going to miss the hell out of her. I hope she comes back someday. But if this was truly it, She had an incredible 9-month run. She is someone that if she came back in the door next year, I could see her get crowned with one of any championship, truthfully, because I just think she's that big of a star. But we wish her the best. The match with Hanan, the emotional finish. Hanan's crying. Mariah May cuts this great promo. She went, she cut a promo in Japanese, which was lovely. And then ultimately, she closed it out by saying Matane. And yeah, it was a special, special moment. She deserves the send off. Because I think when it comes to wrestlers, that come internationally, right? We kind of saw Xena come and go, we saw Jessie come and go, we saw Zy Brookside come and go. What Mariah May was able to do, she is going to go down as one of the best foreigners ever, and I'm happy she got the right send off. Let's see what we got here. Jeff, Mariah came in an unknown and in 9 months became a star. She is something special. Absolutely. If she doesn't go to another company, I expect her back next year. I agree. I hope Mariah found a locker and put May in there one final time before she flew out of Japan. I was also hoping she got that IWGP Women's Title match. I think that would have been a beautiful thing for her. I think she earned it. I think that's a story and a match that people wanted to see. It just never came to fruition. Who knows? Maybe she's gonna be in the US. Maybe she gets that Texas match. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Hanan and Mariah had me asking who the kind of youngins. Hell of a send off for the foreign ace. Sky's the limit for her. 100%. Matt, she proves she can rise to the occasion against the best in the world. Seeing if she can elevate worse wrestlers is the next step for her. I hope she comes back to take the next step. I do too. I think she is someone who she is already great. She made herself great through this run. If she came back for another run, I think she would make herself one of the very best in the world. She is the complete package, though, for any company that wants her. And I hope for her she goes and makes the best decision, whatever that shall be. Okay, she debuted in Yokohama Budokan. She ended her stay in Yokohama Budokan. Good on her. It was a very special, perfect run for her in many ways. I think no one maybe expected this to go 9 months. I know I surely didn't because everyone else stayed 3. But if she comes back, and I hope she does, I look forward to seeing what she does. I think there's um, a lot left in the tank for what you can do with Mariah May in Stardom. Can Mariah face Mayu in Texas? I mean, she can. I don't see why she couldn't. She would just have to get visa to get to the US. I mean, that would be a great match to throw on there. There's no reason she can't. As of right now, there's no reason she can't. I'm sure, but we can hope. We can hope. I doubt it. I'm sure they have someone in mind, but anyways, let's move on. Stardom Dream Kingdom 2023 was officially announced for December 29th, as expected, in Ryogoku Sumo Hall. I just wanted to add this in here because, pretty important. Biggest show of the year, or biggest recurring show of the year, I should say. Of course, we have our yearly show that's humongous, that we love. Whatever it's Stardom World Climax, All-Star Dream Cinderella, All-Star Grand Queendom. The list goes on and on. There's no locked in name. Hopefully, I would love to keep the latest one. Is it Grand Queendom? Dream Queen? I don't know. I think it's Grand Queendom. But this is good to see because I think the big year-end show is always a hit for Stardom. Next up, we have Asami versus Momo Watanabe. Just a strong wrestling match. I think Asami had such a great tournament because I know how great of a wrestler Asami is. I think we all do by now, but she had a lot of performances and a lot of big wins. She arguably, and I know people can get mad at me, but she arguably had bigger wins than like a lot of the top wrestlers. And I think that's important because we're trying to build Asami further. Asami beat Julia in the middle of the ring. She beat Mina Shirakawa in the middle of the ring. She beat Utami Hayashishita in the middle of the ring. She beat Sayori Ano in the middle of the ring. Those are her 4 wins. Those were her 4 wins. That's phenomenal. You know, like that is a phenomenal. If she's not going to walk away with positive points, at least she's walking away with a fantastic handful of wins. She gave Hanan the best match of Hanan's career, in my opinion, in terms of singles matches. I thought that was fantastic. And then Momo Watanabe. Momo Watanabe, you know, we know what Momo is. We know what Momo is. Momo is a fantastic pro wrestler. I think for a lot of people, she probably overachieved in this tournament in terms of quality matches. I don't think she had any bad matches, and I don't think she would ever have any bad matches. But I think she opened the tournament strong with Mirai, closes it strong against Asami. I could watch these two wrestle forever. This is one of my favorite matches of the night, truthfully. It didn't have stakes, but you know, Momo pretty much put Asami through the mat with Peach Sunrise. So that was fantastic. So fantastic stuff here as always. If you're listening to the show, maybe you haven't checked out the show yet, wait. I think this is one of the matches you should check out though. I think it's worth it. What do we got? Two of the goats. I'm gonna assume this is for them. Momo did not break Asami's face. She did not. Let's see. Asami has Mayu tomorrow. I'm very excited for that match. That match should be fantastic. Asami has already put the idea out there that if she wins, she wants to challenge for the IWGP title at the Texas show. I think that would be incredible. What a gift. You know, what a gift for fans if that were to be the case. We have Colin. I've been live for 23 minutes. Don't worry, you didn't miss too much. We're still at match number 2. Brad, Momo had a great tournament. I think hope she reminded people who she is out there. I agree. Give me 1 second. I totally agree. I think she definitely did. Hear you. Momo had an incredible 5-star. That's the Momo I want to see more often. She's one of the faves. I think we should be seeing this version of Momo more often. At least I hope so. And Matt, you are absolutely right. Asami versus Julia will go down in history. 55 seconds. She got the stopwatch. That's one of like my favorite matches of the tournament. One of my favorite matches of the tournament every year is the big like shocking win in seconds. Whether that be last year with Saki and Mayu. Was it last year? Saki and Asami on the final night, which was a heartbreaker for so many people because Asami actually had a shot. It's just so great. Another case, but this match was really strong. People should go check it out. Next up, now we have stakes. The rest of the show from here on out has major stakes. Mina Shirakawa looking to win, keep herself in the tournament, going one-on-one with Sayori. I know. And I was shocked. I thought for sure they'd at least go as far to put pressure or more pressure on Mirai versus Micah, but instead, no need to worry about that. Sayori steals the win over Mina Shirakawa. This match was all about the legwork. It was never ending legwork. And it was very strong effort by both of them. I think Sayori has been so fantastic in this tournament. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know that I tweet about every single match she has anyways. But I think she's been so good since joining Stardom. And her getting a big win here, moving to, I think, 10 points and a winning record, that's great to see. She had overall a great run. Mina Shirakawa had an interesting run because I think after the past couple of years in her tournaments where she really swung above where we expected her to, I expected her to come into this tournament and have just this knockout top tier best tournament of her career. And I don't think she had that. I think her tournament last year was better. But I still do think that she was able to deliver in certain spots. I think this match and the way that it ended was probably the bigger talking point, though, moving forward. Because now that Mariah May's gone, at least for the rest of the year, what do you do with Mina Shirakawa? So I will ask you all, if you are listening, tell me what you would do with Mina Shirakawa. Because Club Venus is now down to Mina and Waka. That is it. That is it. Likely for the rest of the year, unless someone joins. We haven't really teased anyone joining besides Hanan, which Hanan just won a title with Saida. So don't think that's coming anytime soon. So let me know, what would you do with Mina Shirakawa? Because I think this was a heartbreaking loss for a lot of fans out there. I had tweeted out, who do you want to win the 5-star Grand Prix? A lot of people picked Mina. A lot of people picked Micah. Heartbreaking night all around, truthfully. But let me know. Let me know what you would do with Mina or Club Venus. I see Hanan join Club Venus when Mariah comes back. Otherwise, no. Sayori is having the best overall wrestling year. She's working so hard and so frequently. She really is. She really is. Like Sayori, whether you watch her in Sendai, Stardom, some other freelance show, she is delivering. You know, she is someone who shows up, who just gives an aura. Oh, you just said aura. That was a good one. She's just Sukiban, of course. She is someone that delivers. And one of the best things Stardom has done this year, the best thing is sign Suzu Suzuki. You're welcome. But one of the best things Stardom has done this year is bring in Sayori. You know, we used Kairi to get her in. Ultimately, it was all about Natsu and Sayori, and that's fine by me. You know, because Kairi's going back to WWE, so who knows? Hanako would be a good ad. That would be fine. I think Hanako was always fun with Mina and Mariah. I wouldn't be upset. More Cosmic Rules matches, Matt. That's Unagi's match. First of all, you know that. Second of all, Matt, come on. Xena got to come back. Xena coming back. I would welcome a Xena come back. I think she was solid. You know, I think she was a solid hand. To describe Mina's tournament, I would need more than just a line of text. Fair enough. We want Xena. See, people want Xena. Someone get Xena on the phone. I don't know what she's doing right now in Australia, but she should come back. Words cannot describe how much I love Sayori. Her aura is breathtaking, and her moveset is wicked. Big fan of Sayori. I couldn't agree more. I think she's phenomenal, and I think this year has proven how great she is. She is. Last year, she stepped up big time, becoming the Ice Infinity champion. You know, Ice Ribbon needed her, and this year it's another level up, in my opinion. I think she's just one of the very best, and she's been one of my favorites to watch. Rossi needs to roll up the truck to pay Mariah and keep her. Listen, I would always be a fan. Xena in Mexico. Okay. All right. That's a good spot. You know, maybe bring back Jesse. You know, probably bring back someone for Club Venus. That's ultimately where I'm at. All right, Colin, I have a question. They can give a young 20-year-old who's been there 5 minutes a 5-star GP, but not SLK who's been there since day one. What's up with that? I will answer that later on. But I will kind of give my old thoughts about Suzu overall. Obviously, and what they see in her already. And yeah, so let's move to the most important match of the Blue Stars block, and what I will call the second best match of the night, which was, of course, a phenomenal battle between Mirai and Micah to decide the Blue Stars block. The thing about this match is that all they just did was truck into one another for the first 5 minutes, and it was awesome. Like to me, that's exactly what I wanted this. When I saw this match announced, I deemed it as the never open weight match of the tournament. And if you're a New Japan fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not a New Japan fan, then you know that defeats the purpose of what I'm saying. But either way, fantastic showing. Fantastic showing. And I love that they went to closer to the wire with this. Dylan, you made a great point on Twitter of how using Micah and the threat of a draw, because she's had so many in this tournament, that's exciting. And that adds a little bit of story to this match. And to me, when it comes down to the final story for Micah, which we'll get into, this is a very key win. Her overcoming and beating Mirai, the reigning Wonder Stardom champion, that is a gigantic victory that I don't want people to overlook because she didn't get the ultimate win. Like, that is still a huge win for her. And I know she's had a lot of huge wins in the 5-star Grand Prix, but it was a win nonetheless that got her to the dance. And getting to the dance sometimes is all you need. It's all you need to get leveled up. And again, I will talk about it later with Micah because I think there is a very serious conversation to have about her moving forward for sure. But starting here, this was great for her. This was great for her. She pinned Mirai clean, middle of the ring after a great back and forth match. Like I said, second best match of the night. Let's see. Do I think Mariah will be back? I think someday Mariah will be back. I don't know when. I have a thought, but I'll wait till the end. Thank you. Could Stardom bring back Zoe Lucas for Club Venus? I think Zoe Lucas and Mariah May are very good friends. If she was going to come back, she probably would come back with Mariah around. Suzu better. Yes. Yes. Isn't that both their thing? I don't know which this is for. Yep, it was physical. Mariah's thing is being beat up 90% of the match and hitting one lariat for the win. And she didn't do that this time. She did hit the lariat and Micah kicked out. So that was a great moment. That was a great moment, right? Because we got used to that lariat being the end all be all. It was just a haymaker match. If there's one person I'd pick to dethrone Mirai for the white belt next year, it's Micah. Everyone loves a good hoss fight. I will get to that because that was about Kid. Thank you. Gotcha. Anyways, let's move forward. Micah moves on to the finals, wins Blue Stars block, deserving of winning Blue Stars block, especially with all that has happened. She was the only choice for me by the time I sat down and thought about it fully. She was the only choice to win the block. Let's get to Red Stars block. We have Shirai versus Ami Shirai, and what I thought was the worst match of the night. It was fine. It was just a fine match. And that's okay. You know, the win was like meh, but how do you have Ami Shirai beat Shirai, the most dominant, arguably the most dominant wrestler in Stardom history? A flash pin, much like last year. This is almost exact from last year with how Shirai was eliminated. If anyone remembers, Risa Sarah pretty much had the same pin to shock everyone and beat Shirai. Like, Shirai just doesn't lose clean. You know, like she loses clean, but she doesn't lose in a convincing way all too much. So Ami Shirai gets a big win ahead of her match with Julia. That's the right thing to do. Eliminate Shirai, again, the right thing to do. No complaints about this. Got the job done. You were shocked about this match, or you're shocked because of pretty sure Hash has beaten her. Hash beat her in Sendai Girls. Yes. But not here. Sure got that win. But let's move forward. I just didn't have much to say about Shirai and Ami Shirai. It was, foregone conclusion to me that one way or the other, Ami was winning. It just just kind of there. But this match was great. This match was great for the Hazuki fans all around the world, for the Natsuko Tora doubters all over the world when this tournament was starting up. You have been proven wrong, folks. You have been proven wrong. Natsuko Tora, what a run. What a tournament. She had a world title match next week. She killed it, folks. I said at the start of this, don't be surprised if Natsuko Tora is going out there and delivering, because she's had it in her. It was just a matter of giving her that shot, and she did it. This match was great. I tweeted out jokingly before the match even started, Hazuki Straw, this was a scheduled tweet, because you knew how this match was ending. But damn it, did they make me think maybe it wasn't how this match was ending? I think Hazuki is just so out of this world in terms of her wrestling and making you believe and convincing you one way or the other. She's so good. She's so good. And her and Natsuko, based off their history and the desperation for Natsuko to win this tournament, it was a perfect combination. And that closing, couple minutes, they were some of the best all tournament, right? Natsuko misses the Swanton. You're kind of expecting Hazuki to win from there. Then she gets the miss. She missed Suzuki. She hits a Death Valley driver. She hits the Swanton, but that's not good enough for her. She goes for another Death Valley driver, and that's when Hazuki reverses it, gets out of it, hits the Hazuki straw. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, eliminating Natsuko Tora. If you're listening, let me know how you like this match, because I thought it was great. I think Hazuki obviously deserves so much more than she's had so far. I think a lot of people probably agree on that point. I did want her to go into the finals. It's funny. I wanted her to go into the final night in contention if Suzu wasn't going to the final. Oops. But fantastic match. I think this is a must-see from the show if you're listening to this and waiting for it to pop up, And this was one of the most important matches of the tournament, especially with Tora running through everyone. She had only lost to Suzu and Starlight Kid before this. So again, incredible run for Tora. No matter win or lose, she should be proud of what she accomplished in this tournament. I think she opened a lot of eyes for a lot of people. And the final Red Stars block match between Tam and Natsupoi. Folks, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, high in my eye. I was terrified. Because the reality had kicked in for me earlier in the night that Suzu Suzuki had a shot. And if you listen to this podcast, if you follow me, you know how much of a fan of Suzu Suzuki I am. And the fact that Suzu Suzuki had a shot was enough. It was enough. And I had predicted we would just go with Tam and Micah. Safe options, right? And when Natsupoi got that 3 count, it was a great moment. Not only for Natsupoi, but for the show as a whole. Because it made the final bigger. It played up to the story we've been going through for the past 6 months or so. I think when it comes to this match, it had its moments, but I think they really lost it towards the end. Like, they just were not on the same page, which is very, and I know people have their thoughts about the many Tam and Natsupoi matches. But I thought they were really working well, and then just there was a little dysfunction towards the end that threw me off. But Natsupoi gets the win clean. It wasn't a roll-up. That was maybe the biggest shock of anything, because we had so many roll-ups, we had so many flash pins, and that's what Natsupoi can do. So seeing her, pin Tam clean, that's a huge win for her. Natsupoi opened the tournament so strong, had a lot of people believing. Obviously, it went south very quickly, but still, she gets as big a win as anyone by pinning Tam in the middle of the ring. And all of Tam's losses were pretty big. Just the way that they happened. And I think when it comes to Tam moving forward, it'll be interesting to see how long she holds this title, because there's a lot of I think there's a lot of question marks that we're going to be awaiting the answer for in the coming few uh, months. But yeah, losses to Tora, lost to not Shuri, lost to Suzu Suzuki, and then lost to Natsupoi, all clean in the middle of the ring. When I saw Suzu and Hazuki happen, last week, I was gonna be sad. Natsupoi had been an incredible 5-star beating Suzu, an awesome time on a draw with Shuri, beating Mayu and Tam. I hope she gets her standalone moment. She's my favorite Joshi. That's from Hiryu. I don't think Poi wants the red belt either. I think the white belt will always be her goal at the end of the day. But let's get to it. All right. I've held everyone up long enough. I'll have some guests after, and then we'll wrap the show up. We're storming through here. The 5-star Grand Prix Final 2023 with Natsupoi defeating Tam Nakano. Suzu Suzuki advanced to the final because she had beaten Natsuko Tora. She ended her tournament at 6-3 after beating Hazuki, getting the free 2 points from Saya Kamatani. This was your final. The story was there. We know the relationship between Suzu Suzuki and Maika. They're literally challenging for the Artist of Stardom titles in a week together with Megan Bain. They're going against Julia. And the story between these two is Suzu questioning Maika's ability to win. She's questioning her ability to win, get the job done. She's been doing so. When Suzu or when Micah lost to Julia in the 5-star Grand Prix, that's where we got to the Artist of Stardom title match. And a lot of the conversation there was, why can't you get this done? So, as a result, the final is set up perfectly. It is Suzu, the person who's been questioning Micah against Micah, who's trying to get the biggest win of her career. Micah has gotten near the mountaintop multiple times, whether it be the World of Stardom title, the Wonder of Stardom title, and now the 5-star Grand Prix final. Micah, the final of the original 4 of DDM to get to the finals. Of course, it was Himeka, Shuri, Julia, and now Micah in 4 straight years, all in the final. 2 straight years of DDM winning the tournament. Could we make it 3? No, we couldn't. But Julia being unable to hold back the tears was a sweet moment. Yeah, she needs she was losing it as soon as they announced the final. And I think the beauty of Julia is that she's very she wears her emotions on her shoulder. She doesn't hide them often. Like, she can try her best, but the relationship she has with Suzu, obviously the relationship she has with Micah, they're very important. And ultimately, with these two in the main event, once I saw Julia hop on commentary, I said, "Oh, this is probably going to be the final." But Tam would have made sense too, because Tam is never ending with Julia. But now that we got to this final, I've seen the many tweets about this. But first and foremost, let's just talk about it. The match was fantastic. A fantastic 5-star Grand Prix final. There were moments for each wrestler throughout the match. Micah and the way that she is able to, I think, deliver her offense. It's so hard hitting. She hit the Eka Otoshi on Suzu for a great near fall. They did the whole thing at the beginning of the match where they were wrestling back and forth, throwing each other into the chairs, trying to one up one another. That was fantastic. And then when we got into the ring to close it out, Micah survived a lot, right? She had the grueling match with Mirai earlier in the night, and she was getting so close to winning. All it took was one Michinoku driver number 2. That's all it was going to take for Micah to get the win. Ultimately, that would not be the case. Suzu pulling off the victory after hitting a tequila shot, her double suplexes, and then sorry, I forget what we exactly are calling it. I call it the spiral tap, but I know it has a very specific name. It was the Sky Twister press for the first time. Picture perfect, stunning, phenomenal move, phenomenal big finish type that should never be kicked out of. I never want that move. You know, I never want that move to be kicked out of. That is a phenomenal finish for Suzu Suzuki. And Suzu pins Micah 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. The crowd were losing their minds for Micah. The fans worldwide were losing their minds for Micah. And ultimately, Micah comes up just short. And that has been, for much of her career, the story of her career. While Suzu Suzuki, at 21 years old, is the 5-star Grand Prix winner. 1 year after having a chance to get to the finals. Literally a point off because she went to a draw with Julia. She gets to the final and she wins the entire thing. There's discussions to be had about Suzu moving forward. There's discussions to be had about Micah moving forward. And there's discussions about the match as a whole. To me, with the ultimate announcement that Suzu will not be waiting until Dream Queendom. Instead, she will be taking the challenge at Edion Osaka, Arena number 1, at Gold Rush in November. And I think a lot of us, in the way we booked this tournament going into the final after the Utami injury, the Sai injury, we thought, how do they get to the year end that they probably want? Whether that be Saya Kamatani or Utami, how do they get there? We assumed Tam wins. There was the possibility, maybe someone wins and then they challenge for the Wonder. That was a possibility. Or simple, you move up the match to Osaka with Suzu facing what's likely to be Tam at that show. A match that, mind you, I think she was going to have either way. Like, I think that was going to be her match no matter what, truthfully. That's my opinion. But, like, I thought for sure that was going to be the plan. And I say that because she already had beaten Tam. She could have easily been the challenger for Osaka. And now, instead, with Suzu, she's made. She is made. 21 years old, just signed with the company. She's been signed to this company when, for 5-6 months officially, like tomorrow. I think when she really jumped in as a full-timer, it was Golden Week, right after the big show. What she's done in this company alone: Triangle Derby win, Artist of Stardom title win. Last year, a win within the finals. This year, gets to the finals. This year, wins the final. She is someone who I have said on multiple occasions, the moment you sign her, she is one of your top stars because she is undeniable. And I know a lot of people, again, I haven't read the comments yet, so I will get to that. I know a lot of people are upset, and I think it is fair to be upset because Micah is someone who has worked her ass off to get to where she is. But let's not discredit Suzu Suzuki and who she is and the wrestler she is. Because Suzu Suzuki has been destined for greatness. She has been. And she's already there now. Win or lose against Tam, she's going to be world champion. She's going to probably be Wonder Champion. She's going to become the face of pro wrestling like she wants to be. And I think at the end of the day, when you're picking the 5-star Grand Prix winner, Rossi saw that chance to level her up more. Who started the generational struggle? It was her, right? It was her. She's the one that came up with the idea, developed the idea. It's how we got here. And I think Suzu Suzuki deserves a lot of credit for what she's been able to make herself in Stardom since coming into the company first as part of Prominence back in January 2022, and where she is now. She is a bona fide superstar, and she's going to win a lot. She is now main event. She has made the step up into the main event level. She is someone they see as a top star. And now we will get into the comments, because I know a lot of people are upset. I know a lot of people are sad about the loss. But let's dive in. Scott needs 6-star back. I'll get 6-star back. Someone tweet at 6-star. Tell 6-star we need you back. Suzu is basically DM. That's right. The moment Suzu and Julia come together again will be beautiful. That is what we are working towards. Micah having the crowd fully behind her was awesome, even in a loss. Micah is a star. It's only up from here, and Suzu deserves this. Whoever the champ is, she should win. I popped big for the Spiral Tap. When it comes to Micah, right, she beat the Wonder of Stardom champion. To me, that, and I understand there's a lot of Micah fans out there, and you're not going to agree with me, and that's fine. But to me, that was just such enough. And losing to Suzu, someone who didn't really wrestle a grueling match, that wasn't going to hurt Micah. Now, the reality is, I understand the sadness, though, because maybe Micah never gets back to this spot with the 5-star. And with the Osaka match happening, because a lot of my reasoning for not picking Micah to win this tournament was because I didn't think they would run that match at Stardom Dream Queendom. Little did I know, whoever was going to win this match wasn't going to Stardom Dream Queendom. So at the end of the day, I get it. I get it. I get the frustration that we are now at for a lot of people. But as a big Suzu fan, I'm very happy. I thought they absolutely killed it in the final. Not as good as the last 2 years. 2 years ago was the all-timer between Shirai and Momo. I thought Shirai and Julia killed it last year, but this was still fantastic. Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I know I see people saying it's doom and gloom from Micah after this. To me, the story is not over between Micah and Suzu. Not by a long shot. I could see them, depending what the Wonder of Stardom title match is at Stardom Dream Queendom, I could see them just have a straight up singles match. I mean, probably not, because the card's going to be packed, but they're going to have a story that continues. The moment I saw Suzu go to the top rope first time, I was like, if this hits, it was over. It was picture perfect. It was all or nothing, Even as a Joshi mark, I can't not call it the Stardust Press. That's fair. It is the Stardust Press. I thought of AJ Styles when I first saw it. I should have thought of Naito. That's on me. Micah losing here and being built up to win the white belt at Dream Queendom is better than winning here and losing the red belt in December, in my opinion, or in November. I hope that's where we're heading. That's my pitch. When the idea of her beating Mirai and losing the final, whether it had been to Tam, now Suzu, I thought the idea would be, okay, she came up short, but she still gets the big match ultimately, right? She still gets the big title match. And I hope that's the case. I do hope that's the case, because she should be getting the big title match against Mariah one way or the other. And I think there is the place to do it. Whether it be in December or Gold Rush, you could always do it at Gold Rush as well. Dylan, the real, you guys can bicker and fight. Fire trainer, hey Scott, I think you're great. Thank you. I think you're great. I appreciate that. I've seen some compare Micah to Jay White when it comes to the 5-star. Jay White became world champion, so that's not a bad place to be if that happens, right? Right? Micah versus Suzu was the finals. Yeah, I mean, it ended up being the story to tell. To me, the story was between Queen's Quest, but I guess it kind of got quieted down. I had Utami and Saya based off reports. I do think Saya was probably going to win this based off of the fact that Suzu's now challenging in Osaka. But this was a great backup, right? Like, this was a perfect story to have as your backup. Peps, I'll agree and disagree. Peps, I'll have you on here because I think there's a good conversation to be had because I want you to hear, like, the doom and gloom is understandable. But I think there's a conversation to be had regarding Micah moving forward. I think she's going to be okay. I think she's going to be okay. Like you heard that crowd, she's going to be fine. There's a chance that Tam isn't the Champ Cup Dream Queen because we don't even know what the current. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a debate, or not a debate, but a conversation to be had. If Saya Kamatani maybe isn't ready by Dream Queen, because we don't know, right? We do not know when Saya Kamatani may be ready, and even if she's ready, do you want to put her in a big title match? Who knows? But we don't know. So there are a lot of possibilities here, right? And I think when it comes to moving forward, right, it is unpredictable, much like this year has been for Stardom. This entire year in Stardom has been unpredictable. I am looking at Suzu Suzuki as the 5-star Grand Prix winner. That's insane. And it was a big victory for me. Big fan. I I make this comparison for a lot of Micah fans. I saw the reaction to her losing that I felt when Mayu lost to Kyrie. Now, it's very different. Mayu's had many, many moments. I get that. But in some ways, it's the same because it's just devastation and sadness. Like, the accolade of being the first IBWGP Women's Champion, the accolade of being the 5-star Grand Prix winner, they're big things in the world of Joshi, right? And, well, IWGP, I guess, isn't really a big thing now. But back then it was in my brain. So I get the frustration, the sadness. And I think when it comes to moving forward, watching what Micah's story is going to be very interesting because ever since Maika left, her story's been very interesting. They've started the relationship with Suzu. Obviously, they've teased dissension between her and Julia. Right now, if I had to guess, and I don't really know, it almost feels like Suzu's more likely to replace Micah in DDM, and Micah goes out and finds a new role for her. But at the same time, I love the lone wolf, right? Suzu Suzuki winning the 5-star. She doesn't have a faction to back her up. She doesn't. And I mean, she, like I said, bona fide star. I want to hear your thoughts. What are you thinking? What are you thinking moving forward when it comes to all these wrestlers? What do you think moving forward when it comes to Micah, when it comes to Suzu, when it comes to Stardom as a whole as we close out the year? I can see Micah winning the Cinderella next year. The Cinderella is so weird. I mean, she could. The Cinderella is so unpredictable for me now because it's like I have no idea what that tournament is, right? We just same thing. It's like, Mariah won back-to-back years. She got the title, but the finals with her and Mai Sakurai, who pretty much hasn't existed since then. But yeah, We keep rolling on here. There's a very good chance that Tam isn't champ. Oh, we went over that. I mean, we haven't even heard of surgery. Yeah, I don't even know what happened. Utami hopefully isn't out long, but sounds like an injury. You rest more than anything. At least that's what we hope for. Suzu beats Tam, Tora at Gold Rush, and at whatever the next big show like All Star if they do that. Suzu versus Micah for the red belt. I mean, I wouldn't say no. I just hope Suzu talks Tam into hardcore rules. That would be funny. That would be funny. It'd be good. Let's see. I'll stand by this, but Kyrie should not have lost the IWGP. Well, you signed Mercedes Monet. I can't really fault going to Mercedes Monet, but I understand, Kyrie should have had a longer run. The only loser of this tournament finishing is Mina because she's going to get pushed down the cart and lost in the shuffle. That's very possible. Let's when it comes to Mina, the Wonder of Stardom title win wasn't one that was expected originally, right? It wasn't one that I think anyone expected to happen. It threw off plans, obviously. It's why Mirai was doing nothing for a while there, especially after winning the Cinderella again. It's why we had to have the double champion to get the belt back to. It was a messy situation. But with Mina, she feels like she can't be denied. Like, she is such a star now. I don't think she'll get lost in the shuffle, but I think there's an interesting story to tell moving forward when it comes to her and her future. I will go back to the comment made by Colin regarding Suzu being in there for 5 minutes and not SLK, who's been there since day one. What's up with that? I think there's a few ways to look at this. Obviously SLK is a huge star, especially over there. She's very popular. She sells a ton of merch. She wins all the polls, yada yada yada, things like that, right? But I think Starlight Kid is in an interesting role as well, where I don't want to say they don't know what to do with her, but I do think that, and I say this because I don't truly know, but what will always possibly hold her back is being shorter. She's 4'11", I believe. Like, that is something that could hold her back from being a world champion. That being said, when it comes to Suzu is someone who has won the top titles outside of Stardom, and while that doesn't always matter too much in Stardom realm, she has won the Xfinity title. She's won the Regina de Wave Championship. Those are arguably the two top championships outside of Stardom, outside of TJPW, however you prefer, in terms of like world titles. And she, again, was a huge signing. Like, she is someone that they got to pretty much leave deathmatch wrestling. Something she loves, something that she wants to do. That's big. Also, to the guests that I have talked to, I have started to send out invites if you would like to join. I just had Dylan join. I'll have Dylan jump in a second. But when it comes to Suzu, like, she is someone who is undeniable. She is someone that they see big things in. And I've said many times, she is someone that is going to be a star no matter what. They're just pushing that further. I personally don't think Rossi sees me the same way. So, well, Tam and Julia are different, like Tam and Julia are like huge. Yeah, Suzu is. Well, Suzu has, okay, so the height maybe not doesn't matter. I won't go to height because I wasn't really confident about that. I just brought up an idea because Io was short. Io Shirai was short. But I also think that the outside accolades and where her current standing is. That has to do with it as well. But there's no right or wrong answer. I mean, again, I think more than anything, she was brought in as a serious contender. She feuded with Julia right off the bat. Like, she is someone that got pushed to the top of the totem pole very quickly. And that's because she is someone who is just a big star. But I'm going to bring Dylan in. Dylan, hello. Oh, that's a tough picture.
I gotta personalize it. I gotta find one. So what do you want to talk about?
All right, Cody. Well, what do we want
That's
to
the
talk
reference.
about?
That was the reference.
I do, because I know you're obviously a huge Micah fan.
Yeah.
And I think my only gripe with the complaints is discrediting Suzu.
Oh, 100%.
Otherwise, I understand the frustration, right? Like, Micah is someone, especially because of the Osaka part. That's
Yeah,
the part
that
that's
was
like,
that was the part. That was
yeah,
the part because it's like I was watching it. I was watching the
yeah,
match, and I was like, it was starting to dawn on me. Well, first of all, and I've talked to you about this millions of times. It's talked about on Stardom Quest, cheap plug. Uh, if Suzu and Micah are in the final, Suzu's winning. That's always been the take. That's
yeah,
always been how I thought about it. Because Suzu actively, like, it's Suzu and Julia. They're Micah's kryptonite. That's the entire story right now.
yeah,
Is that it's like if Suzu's around, Micah can't win. If Julia's around, Micah can't win. So Suzu, big sistering Micah, even though she's years younger, makes sense in the final.
yeah.
The Osaka thing is what actually made me upset because
Yeah, no, that's fair, because you and me had been debating Micah winning for a while, and I said she can't, like, she's probably not the year-end challenger, right?
yeah,
And then they just didn't do that. I was like, ooh, okay. All right.
that
I take it back now.
because I was trying to rationalize it as I was watching the match. I was enjoying the match, but I was like, okay, I mean, Suzu Tam is a more interesting match to me personally. I love Micah, but that's a more interesting match.
Yeah,
Suzu getting the year end, that's dope. Like I was really like coming around to it, and I enjoyed the match, and I was like
yeah,
happy when Suzu won, even though the crowd, I was like, oh, that's not good.
yeah, because the
Um,
crowd was all in on Micah.
the crowd, it just like the air was taken out. It's funny she won with the Stardust Press. Because the last time a very great wrestler won a major round robin tournament with the Stardust Press. Um, yeah. But no, I just, yeah, I mean, it was very much. I tweeted about it. That's kind of the Joey Styles joke where it's like she's not good enough for Backlash. Like I get her not
Well,
working
Rush was a big
WrestleMania.
show.
I
Last year was Saya and Kyrie and Shuri
that was
Utami.
great.
That's
Those
a
were
big
great matches.
show.
But Utami had zero chance in that match, if you remember.
Well, that's
Like
neither here nor
it
there.
was it was well regarded as like, oh, Utami
Yeah,
is so not capable of winning this match because of that Gold Rush.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Well,
it's sad.
here's the one thing I will say. Rossi's very unpredictable this year. I have Peps here, which is gonna be dangerous for me as the Suzu defender. So wish
Yeah, I'm a little
myself
bit.
luck.
I'm kind of in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle.
Yeah, thank God you're about to be in the middle of the conversation. Hello,
Yeah,
Peps.
Um, hello. Can you hear me?
he's so ready.
Yes.
He is so ready.
Yes.
I'm terrified. It's so funny because I was talking to Peps before this show, and we were like,
I
"Well, if
was
Micah wins, it
so
was going to be best
mad.
results."
I was really bad.
I can imagine. Having
But
the heart
I'm
ripped
cool
out.
now.
That's tough.
I think I think I lean more towards Dylan right now than you would expect. But yeah.
Okay, well that's good. That's good because I was a little terrified. A little terrified.
Oh,
Um,
Peps was like doom posting all night. It was crazy.
Yeah.
well, hey, we gotta talk yourself through it, And sometimes angry tweeting's the way to go. I get it. All right, Peps.
I already called Joey Janela to sign Suzu for
Well, hey,
PW. I
hang
was
on,
ready for
no,
it.
I'm not letting you
That's so
finish
evil.
that sentence.
That
I'm
is
not
so
letting you
evil.
finish that sentence. That is no. You did not hear
No.
that. Janela.
But for real, like where should I start? I thought about it for a bit before I came on this podcast. I was like, okay, there's two different scenarios for me, or like two different results that came in my head. The first one was, if we go from a creative standpoint, Suzu was 100% the right winner, because obvious standpoint, she was planned to challenge on that show anyways,
Yeah.
likely. So going there makes somewhat sense if they don't want to change plans. But if you look at this match itself, you needed to do the switch and let Micah challenge for Mirai.
It was Micah's match to win. I think that was a bit nasty at certain points. I was like, oh, this is.
She
like
should have not challenged Tam, but she should definitely won this match, and that's kind of the problem here, especially with the crowd. The crowd was dead after this match, and that's not good because you want your newest, biggest star to have a huge reaction, everyone to be happy, and now you put her against someone that the fans wanted over her, which is not a good sign. It's not because of Suzu, of course. It's just that Mike at that moment had more momentum and the crowd behind her.
I'll say this, and I think this is like Suzu is in a Julia spot when Julia came in.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's tough because she's getting pushed heavy, right? She's been in one of the main stories all year, despite kind of being a quiet
Suzu does
start.
have more goodwill though. She
does
have a lot more
she
goodwill
does.
than Julia
Suzu
does.
is seen as better. Like
so if
Suzu
you
is
saw
seen
the
as one of
timeline
best
today,
wrestlers in the world.
if you saw the timeline today, you would not think that. But yes, she does have more goodwill. But it's kind of similar position, right? Like she beat a favorite. So ultimately, doom and gloom. And when it comes to Micah, and as I said this earlier, I understand the frustration because there's a good chance she doesn't get back to the 5-star final, right?
Yeah.
You just never know. Right? Like
just wait until they need another pin eater. No. But
she's in the Momo Maika spot as opposed to
12.
the Tam spot.
Yeah.
Which, or the I won't say Konami. Konami was different, but
different era.
It was. It's unfortunate for Micah. However, as I've said to Peps, I think Peps wanted to kill me earlier because I was like, well, I still think she wins the white belt. I think Peps was like, stop saying I think she wins things. I was like, no, you know what? You're right. You got me. I'm not going to say she wins anything. I'll just assume she's not going to win anything from now on. But in terms of Suzu, before we get back to Micah and the rest of the year, I think Suzu getting the accolades so early is a testament to where Rossi wants her to go, right? And again, I can't stress this enough. Micah losing isn't bad because she beat Mirai and she faced someone who did nothing in the Battle Royal. Like if you watch the Battle Royal, Suzu just shoved Macer and called it a day. That's essentially
she tried to kill her tag partner. That's all.
Yeah,
that's all that needed to be done.
That's real, like a win's a win. She then beat her other tag partner later in the night. So it's like, damn, that's deep. I just don't want. I think my biggest thing is let's not discredit Suzu.
Yeah.
Let's just be upset about Micah. Because I think because Micah made me believe, and then Suzu got in the final, and I said, Dylan, well, Micah's my op now.
I don't know who I said it to. I think it was Dylan or Alex, but I was like 100% sure that Micah somehow makes the final, but I just didn't want to jinx it because the final Micah Suzu just made the most sense. The Temna kind of thing was just us talking into it.
That was me being safe and accepting defeat.
Yeah, I was being very protective. That's the thing because I've been very adamant about being anti Suzu Micah as a final. Because of this reason, because I was like, oh, well, I don't want to see either of them lose in the final. That would suck. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was like, oh, well, Suzu over Mirai is fine. Because then Mike is just kind of like off to the side. You don't really think about her too much. You don't get sad about her losing in the final like everybody has. And also Suzu can win that. Whereas I
would have been sad. Do I matter?
Wait, Suzu would have beaten Mirai. Like you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Suzu, to win the belt.
Yeah.
I mean,
not to win the belt, to win the tournament.
The 5-star, yeah.
Oh, if Mariah got there, sorry, I did. I just heard no one would have been sad if Suzu lost. Never mind.
I can understand this, but
Yeah, I get you.
I was just very much like adamant that it's like, okay, well, they wouldn't shoot themselves in the foot by putting up two insanely popular stars who don't really want to lose right now. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put Micah on a big stage to lose unless it is her winning this tournament and then losing to Tam.
It's happened a
That's
few
how I
times.
felt. Yes, I mean she's climbing up the ranks. She's Fukuoka is not a great place to be from because them
Hey, she
motherfuckers
might
lose.
bright side. She might avoid the Goto stuff because never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
No, wait. I'm gonna jump in for Goto.
Goto
won multiple intercontinental belts. If Micah wins multiple white belts, I'm happy.
Yeah, Goto did win the
That's true.
white belt. Goto did win the white belt and the tournament, and Micah has not. Yeah, but it is
That's true.
rough. But back to Suzu. I'm very happy for Suzu. I kind of tweeted this and I kind of like brought this up to try to like calm Peps down. That it's like, hey, I mean, as Wave fans, this is a dub. This is a dub. She's the first person to win both Catch the Wave and the 5-star. So that's
It's
like
true.
the two biggest Joshi tournaments in modern, like since the Japan Grand Prix 20 years ago.
Well, it's the only one active right now.
Yeah, there's only two active tournaments.
I do think like the outside accolades matter.
Yeah.
You know, like someone asked about why Starlight Kid is like still down. Not.
I reject that. I reject that because Azumi is right there. Like if we're gonna start getting upset about people not winning belts, other than the high speed belt, I have some things to say. But no, I think that Suzu like
Between Maika and Asami, ooh, this is gonna be tough.
and
between you
Hazuki,
two.
like
all right. Yeah, you have
my
it tough.
favorites are
You have it
losers.
tough. You have it tough. I'll give you that. I think one thing I'll say, I know the champions never win the 5-star. I understand that, but listen, I tossed it out there just because it's Tam, and Tam doesn't lose. Anyways, Tam's got my brain messed up this year.
You got Tam brain. That's an old phenomenon. That's an old illness.
See, I jinxed it. I picked Tam to win so that she wouldn't win. Reverse psychology, folks.
But we all agreed that Suzu was the right winner, regardless of she beating Micah and the crowd deflating all that, or do we
Not
think,
necessarily.
Okay,
I think because it's at Osaka, I don't see a reason why Micah couldn't have won. Like I get that it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna keep going with the plan. Like that was the reason that makes sense. But I don't like if this was how they're going to run it, I don't see why Micah wouldn't have won. Or couldn't have won.
My pitch is if it's not Micah, and if you want to still like Suzu earned her shot already. And I think the 5-star I don't know, of course it will change because I mean we are just now 13 years into the 5-star, so 11, I don't know. And we never had one winner twice, and that will obviously change because Suzu is so young that other wrestlers will be there like for 10 more years, they will win it again.
You would hope so.
But that is now pretty much the early peak of Suzu's career because she's not beating Tam. And then she will likely go into the tag title reign with Julia. So
they're not in the tag league.
Yeah, but tag league doesn't matter.
I hate that. See, like you want and Pep, sorry, you can finish, but I think we should talk about the rest of the year just for Stardom as a whole.
Hey, maybe Michael will win tag league.
No, it has something to do with the rest of the year because I would have switched the Tora and Suzu match. I would have given Tora the 5-star. If it's just to not waste it on Suzu, Micah was not planned, does not need it, whatever, and it gives Tora more credibility, and they should have let her win, not over Micah, because it would have gotten the same reaction, likely be even more deflating.
That would have been worse.
Yeah,
that would have been a worse reaction.
Oedo Tai has never won a Stardom tournament in history.
Likely because feel good moments. But it's like if they want to give, like they could have done that. But I mean, they are high on season now. It's established, so I get why they're doing it. It's just
I will say, like for me, the reason she got the win is to move her into the main event realm now, officially. Like for people to know that, moving forward.
There is one thing, and I pointed this out to Alex. My Japanese is obviously non-existent. I don't know their language like whatsoever, but I know a handful of words. And before the match, one of the commentators more or less said that the final was to become the new face of Stardom. which I thought was very interesting verbiage.
You're goddamn right. All right, nope, this was the right winner. I take it. All
like,
right.
and I think that is an interesting kind of element to it because obviously Suzu has been talking about how she wants to be the face of pro wrestling, and all that. So I think the commentator going, the winner of this will be the new face of Stardom because neither of these wrestlers have won a singles belt in the company or a major singles belt, future belt, obviously. But neither of them have really done anything. Neither of them won a major tournament. Well, I mean, Triangle
in Stardom.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like truly for like the new face of Stardom, quote unquote. So I thought that was an interesting tie to it, and I get why Suzu would be that. I think Mai should have won.
I always think Mai should win. I got my second option though, so like I'm in terms of favorites, I originally picked Utami, but obviously that was
Another question before we move on. Was like Mina on the final day would have been something you would have chosen to win, like the tournament, since Mina and Tam obviously have the big huge story and all of that.
Yeah,
but I don't know if they would have done it again for the red belt, especially so soon. And it's not like I hate to do this, but it's not like the first match drew a huge amount of ticket sales to be worth it running again.
Yes. The way we should have maybe all looked at Mina is that the Wonder of Stardom title reign happened because of an accident.
She's booked against Shirai UWF match. She had no chance of winning.
That too. I said she's gonna get absolutely destroyed in a week. Is she really gonna win the 5-star Grand Prix? Which is kind of why I started to phase her out, because like, how do you get around a UWF style match? Like, you're not going to a draw with Shirai.
And Shuri's not losing as a former.
No, Shirai already lose against Ami Sarai. That's enough losing for Shirai for a while.
Yeah.
Which was exactly like last year. Just
I wanna note something in the chat real quick. I'm talking about major tournaments because title tournament, the New Blood tournament, Kid won. I'm talking about like major tournaments, as in like the Big Three and Triangle Derby, I guess.
New Blood was like
I mean, like Oedos has also won like a 1-day
shout out Wingori
trio tournament. Yeah, like it's a whole thing. Yeah. But I was talking about major tournaments.
We should not talk about major tournaments when Micah's involved, please.
Yeah.
No, she's the worst wrestler ever in major tournaments.
I can't wait to her to get to that Triangle Derby final next year.
I will say this,
statistically the worst, I think.
I will say this. I'm starting to think that the final was Saya Micah. I was starting to think that last week, but I do think that was a very real chance that was actually the final.
Saya over Micah is an easy.
Yeah,
like
easy story.
The way one of Julia or Utami would have gone through would have been if one of them won, and I don't think that would have happened.
Yeah,
we're always talking about a draw, and then it made like no sense how Utami went through.
I will say this: had Saya been healthy, right? Do you think a lot more people would be mad for Saya winning?
I think everybody would have kind of expected it. Like I think because of the
after the white belt match.
Yeah,
white belt run. Like, I think people. Mad.
People would have. I love Saya.
You wouldn't know. You love Saya, but
I love Saya, but I also have been on the train of like, I don't think she needs a red belt yet. I don't think she should be challenging for that yet. Give her a minute, and like, don't let the wheels fall off. And the wheel didn't, but like, that was kind of my take on Saya. Was just like, let's give her a few months. I wasn't somebody who was believing that she should win the tournament here, but.
Yeah,
I don't think people would be upset. I mean, people would be upset. Everybody's upset.
People would have been upset. People would have been upset no matter what.
I mean, probably we are talking about right now that Suzu Suzuki is getting. I wouldn't say hate. Like people disagree with Suzu Suzuki winning this match.
She's being disrespected.
Yeah,
disrespected is the right call. Yeah, and Kamitani is more like 70-30 in the fan base compared to Suzu's 90-10 or so. So I think Kamitani would have gotten the same backlash, if not more.
Kamitani is pretty polarizing. Mostly by people who are not smart, personally, in my opinion.
Especially against like Micah, who gained a lot of popularity after Micah retired and all of that.
you look at Micah and you look at Saya for a second. You talk about that conversation. Like Micah, I've always called Micah the Puro fans' favorite Joshi wrestler
I can see it.
because I think that's like her style fits what they're looking for, especially her big title match style. Saya's like not that at
Yeah.
all. You know, she's just a very
Saya is the
different
total
wrestler.
opposite of what Stardom currently wants from a main event in terms of the wrestling style.
That's why she's so
Would
that's
be
why
refreshing,
she
but
does. You know, that's why she does. And I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's also part of like the difference between those two and the conversation. But when they go in there, they have fantastic matches. I will say, you know, just the one night performance, no matter how fans reacted, if you're not leaving this like, okay, Micah's gonna get a moment, because that's how I feel. Like, you don't give her a big win over Mirai, a final spot, and
you
the
don't
person
give. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
continue. You don't give her that and then losing to someone who did pretty much nothing earlier in the night. Like, they gave her the ultimate run without winning on the final night, in my
She
opinion.
is technically in a story with Judah right now. That should tell enough.
Yeah.
This is very true.
That
And-
they have some plans for her. Of course, it's always about what is actually the plan, where is it leading, because of course we have an artist belt coming up, we have a tag league coming up, which she both could win.
She's a favorite in
yeah.
both, I would say.
Yeah, she's definitely. I mean, you had the opponent. One of them is Mai Sakurai, who's like, you know, and then we have three of the most protected wrestlers in the company. So it's like, she should normally win, which means Studio will roll her up and whatever.
You know, I
Yeah.
was thinking that, like, I mean, I was fantasy booking Micah for a long time, where I was like, oh, Julia can like roll her up at that trios match, and then they could face, and Micah could finally beat her. And but you know, none of this is happening. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because I think looking at the rest of the year, this 5-star has been great, but it's also kind of highlighted some issues, I think, of like, how do we get all of these people their moments? You know what I mean? I'm not a big Mina or Kid fan personally, but
Mina
like,
had her moment.
yeah, I agree, but some people don't.
Mina,
But, like-
Mina peaked.
Yes, you're not
At
wrong.
the biggest show ever.
Yeah, who would have thought that that's a bad thing? But what I mean is that it's like you have people like, you know, you have Kid, who I'm not a big fan of, but one win is a bit criminal. It's a bit disrespectful. Like, that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And
Like,
it wasn't even clean.
Yeah, I was like,
No.
I was happy. Like, again, I'm not a Kid fan, but I was like, "Ew, that's rough." And then you have the Hazukis, right? Like, Hazuki has
Yeah.
not had a bad pay-per-view match.
I would
Maybe that
throw in-
Koguma match. Maybe that Koguma match in the
The
Cinderella.
first one? Oh.
No,
I was like,
no,
the
the-
first
the
match she
second
had back? That's a little unfair.
No, and I thought that match was really good for it being her
Um,
first match back.
yeah.
And then there's
I-
Natsupoi. There are a lot of people who like kind of are like, fans are thirsty to see them do something. And I really feel like,
they are.
yes, but I feel like Micah in that red belt scene opens the white belt up for more people. So I'm not really a fan of the idea of Micah going down to white belt, and you know, if she beats Mirai or whatever happens down there, I'm not really a big fan of that. It's just hard going forward because there are a lot
Listen,
of
just
spaces.
get
for people.
one title win, okay? Like, at this point,
The
just
thing
be
is-
happy with
the
the
thing
title
is-
win, man.
I agree with you somehow, but at the same time, Asami did not get a white belt match yet. Like,
That's true.
Exactly.
They are telling us she's not there yet, and
Which is
Starlight Kid is
Insane.
like went
You're
2-6.
you're just
technically,
trying
like,
to start
one-
Dylan right now.
No, it's like, and Hazuki's also. I think Hazuki got a good spotlight this year compared to last year. Singles wrestler. So there's
I
at
mean,
least
she
some-
won like 12 singles matches in a row last year. Oh no,
And
she
she
won
lost.
like
yeah,
9,
but
and then
it
she
was
lost the
not
last
like
4.
that she was like any kind of relevant. Like this year she had like she felt somewhat relevant again. with
She had a
the
more relevant
Contender
final
match.
night match, I think.
Yeah, and all of
You
that.
know-
She was more involved into the stories, in my opinion.
Very briefly,
Um,
once again, looking at the chat, somebody said like sarcastically, there should be more titles. I think there should be more titles. I think there
They
needs to be
sh-
one more title in the mid card. Like,
they should.
what is
bring
Tekla
back
ever
the-
going to do? Like, you
They-
know what I mean?
They should bring back the SWL belt in some form and make it like something New Japan
mid-card
has, never
belt.
belt. It's like a mid card,
An actual mid-card belt, not what the Wonder is. I think
Or the
I'll-
high belt.
talking about like Stardom overall now, because I think we've accepted the final. You know, we're there. We're there. We know Suzu won.
Osaka's
Micah
tough,
lost.
but yeah, that's
Osaka's tough. I'm not gonna get over that part. But if Sai is the plan, then Sai is the plan. If Sai is not the plan, then I'm very
It's
confused.
good to hear that Saya is okay. Apparently,
Yeah, that I think probably based off Saya's
Wait, where'd you hear that? Where is Sai okay?
healing.
I mean,
obviously she's not okay. I hope, but
No, this is my thought.
Hmm.
They probably were waiting on how she'd heal, and that's how they decided the title match and where it was happening.
yeah,
She must be healing really well to confidently just go like, yeah, we're gonna do this at Osaka, you know? Otherwise, maybe it's not Saya. Maybe we're all wrong. You know? Who knows?
we technically have the chance that Suzu just wins the belt and we bring Julia versus Suzu at the Sumo.
oh, I don't know.
See, I would win there because then Suzu would be champion.
Yes.
Listen, Dylan, your other option is Tam and Julia. Okay, so just take this. Just take.
Why
this,
does Julia
okay?
have to be there? That's my question. give her
Because
a
it's
break.
Julia.
Julia, the first thing they showed when the match was over was Julia.
Julia is a bad leader. We always talk about how bad of a leader Mayu Tam is, but Julia was like out there tweeting about how happy she is with Suzu, but she did not tweet at Micah.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole
let's
girl was
respect
crying.
Mayu the leader. Mayu the leader has put together a super team. Thank you over the past couple of years, and they are good. Julia, on the other hand, she watched
Knock
half
on
of her
wood.
faction
Knock
leave.
on wood. I don't like how you said that. I'm concerned now. Knock on wood.
You know, Saeed is, you know,
She has a belt now.
she does for now. Yeah.
Don't say for now.
You know, well, she
Everything
does
is
for now.
temporary.
All,
Why do you have to
all,
add for
all,
now? You keep
all,
adding the
title,
for now.
all title reigns are temporary,
Exactly.
except for Tams.
No,
That
that's
one,
never gonna end.
that never ends. But I will say, like, and you absolutely knocked off my train of thought. I have no idea
My
what I was about
apologies.
to talk about.
Oh, you're about to talk about the Stardom as a whole going forward.
Oh yeah, so Stardom as a whole going forward, I think they have a lot of stories that they've either created through the 5-star, continued through the 5-star, that are going to bring us through the year end, and none of them really involve Tam or Mirai. I think that's interesting.
I mean, yeah.
Like it all, like Tam's not part of the DDM story. Well, she is, but she isn't. You know, like the story when Suzu has that match won't be Tam. It's going to be Suzu probably coming up short. And what's next from there? We're going to continue the Micah and Suzu stuff next week. Like either they're going to win the artist titles and Julia's in that match, obviously, or Micah and Suzu are going to be off. You know, they're not going to be on the same page. And like Pep said, Julia rolls up Micah because for some reason Megan Bang can't lose.
The thing is with Meg Bane, of course, we don't know how long she's in Stardom. Like, I think it was set around Queendom, but I don't know if it was before or after Queendom.
Yeah,
because that's an important role.
We just know she's leaving at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of difficult because I was kind of thinking, you mentioned something, Scott, where it's like, oh, maybe Suzu's trying to like replace Micah, and that's kind of the story. In that instance, it would become 2-woman power trip with just Micah and Megan, because I think May would probably go to DDM with Suzu. I think that's a bigger, like, I don't know. The whole thing, and not to like, you know, diverge, the whole thing is a bit weird because they were kind of building like, oh, May Sarah is going to be homies with Mai Sakurai and Tekla, like they're going to be teaming more because they kind of took her in and it was like a whole thing, and then they just never.
Wasn't that like one show?
That was like a week of shows where they were like, oh, okay, they're friends now. She's their servant. Haha, that's a joke. And then they like were just friends for like a week.
She's used a lot. Okay, poor girl.
Love May Sarah.
And of course, they teased the Tekla Megan Bane stuff all the time.
Yes. Which are they're now at odds, and Megan May's gonna kill her. Love that.
But of course, it's interesting towards Queen because you have so many different possibilities for like everyone there. especially Julia. I mean, she has 2 belts.
She does have 2 belts, and one of them is important, kind of, because she always defends it. I will say, when we look forward to Tag League here, right? What are like the actual options to get a match, presumably against Sayori and Natsupoi at the year-end event? Because to me,
FWC.
it comes down to, one, what is Megan doing? Right? Because Micah and Megan on paper are the favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, they showed it us like literally today. They can do the title match whenever they want to.
This is true. This is very true.
They have a title, like a big show coming up in Nagoya in the first December week after the Tag League.
Tag League end like a week.
No,
before
the Tag
Gold
League
Rush?
ends before Gold Rush.
Yeah, they really
So they
could
can-
just do
yeah,
all tournament
it's
matches.
They could
Yeah.
do Mike and Mag Bane. Even if Mag Bane is like gone before Queen, and they could still make them champions. Like
could.
not champions, but at least win over
could.
tournaments.
Yeah. I guess we can't assume anything right now. That's part of it, right?
My prediction is prominence.
I
They
guess
are
everyone-
protected as a team, always, especially as a trio, of course. And they got
Kurumi
some...
could fall though. Kurumi is not afraid to fall.
Yeah, of
Sure,
course not.
Saki should win.
But they got a prominent showing when they came back. So there's like definitely a chance, and I think they are the runners of the Red Stars block, Red Goddess block.
I feel like if we're talking a little bit about Goddess, because I do have to head out pretty soon, but if we are
we're
talking
wrapping
about
up soon anyway.
yeah,
So hour and a
talking about
half.
Goddess real quick, I think it is like FWC prominence. I think Saki Shuri is a good shout, similar to Hanan Mayu, where it's like if it, because this Goddess tournament doesn't really look like it's going to be this huge deal. You know, it's not like this is,
We don't even know who's going to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of
wrestlers are
injuries
still out.
actually. When you think about
I
that,
think Natsuko and Starlight Kid were going to be a big story too.
Yeah.
Especially based off of Kid's tournament, and Natsuko's tournament. Ultimately, like one was at the top and one was at the bottom.
I will say it'll be wild when Suzu Suzuki, 5-star winner, is defending and losing the artist belts at Queendom. Just completely separated from the main event scene. That's the kind of thing that's wild to me. It's just like the framing of it with the Osaka show, where it's like, damn, she's kind of gonna get,
Yeah, I'm gonna guess she
away.
has a pretty prominent spot, no pun intended, on that final show. I just don't. It could just be artist belts, which would be upsetting, or it could be something with Julia, or it could be something we don't know.
They could do a lot.
They can. They have a lot of things to do overall. They have.
They have a lot of papers coming up.
They're gonna have to give us a world title match, a Wonder of Stardom title match.
I mean, the world title match should be obvious by now.
Assuming Saya is good to go.
Yeah.
Yes. Which again, until she shows up, I guess
the Wonder Belt could be everything at this point.
The Wonder Belt could be obviously Micah, as we pitched.
It's not going to be a new.
No, I think she's Gold Rush.
Yes, it's not going to be a new. So it's between
it could be Mina.
Micah and Mina, or like some outside again.
Hazuki. Wait, are we talking about who's challenging Mirai?
Yes.
Hazuki should just win it like that. Forehead, come on now.
I know, but I'm going to be going off the 5-star. I mean, Micah makes sense because she beat her in the 5-star final. Hazuki's obviously a good option. It depends if Mirai's losing as well.
It also depends on if it was there.
It should be someone on the Stardom roster.
Well, no, I'm not saying Fuwa Chan should challenge for the belt. I'm saying that she'll probably tag with Hazuki.
Okay, pal, Haruka Umasaki challenged last year.
That's true. I actually brought that up to
Fuwa challenging wouldn't be that insane.
It would be killer. She would sell the fuck out of that lariat. Homegirl would die on that.
Let me get the final comments, and I'm going to roll out here because I am tired and sick. Dylan, no, you know how it goes. Mariah's not losing. You have to pick a loser. That's mean, but true.
Mina.
Time for Micah to step up.
Easy.
Me.
Hey, we're okay. Perhaps we need to talk about our advertising. We need to like try to get people away from the Mike as a loser thing, because like it's gonna
Time
become,
for Hazuki to step up.
it's gonna become a self-fulfilling.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
hey, what the fuck? We're on the same side here. What's going on? Fukuoka,
Yeah.
come on, man.
That's
What is
tough.
Jungle Kiona doing currently?
Oh, man.
Jungle Kiona has taken.
Think
the
about how
form of
many
multiple wrestlers.
singles championship matches the 3 people from Fukuoka have lost in the past like 3 years.
Yeah,
Because
Koguma lost by
has
0.
Koguma has tried that high speed belt
I mean, the
multiple
high
times.
speed, yeah.
All right, I'm wrapping this up.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Before Peps books everyone another loss.
Except for Mike.
Except for Mike. Well, no.
It's just
Peps
could
just
just-
booked Micah
just
another loss.
We could just let loose. What's her name? Momo Watanabe again. That's
What's her name?
possible.
That's happening next week, Peps.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Momo's
again?
already losing. Momo's already losing. She's got that locked in.
Momo Kogo.
Oh,
Mm.
please. No. We're not having a Momo Kogo title match. Please don't do that to me. But yes, next week is the next big pay-per-view because Stardom doesn't
Never
stop.
stops.
It's just
There's also a
never-ending
show
run.
today with Azumi and
Oh, I just
and
realized
Mayu.
my heart's gonna be ripped out if Utami
still
can't
have to
wrestle
see
that title
Nicola.
match.
Oh yeah, she can't. A hernia?
she
That's a
can't.
month.
Yeah, she's gone. So hopefully they give Asami a tag team partner. That's my hope.
Let's get Masaruga in there. I think she's busy. But
Yes, I said it as well. It should be
She
Mason.
can't be busy. She can't be that
Or
busy.
Momoka.
Let's see. Let me
Unless
see.
I know.
Let me just
Where's
double
that
check.
show?
It's at Aichi Prefectural Gym.
Oh,
Ah, not Momoka then.
yeah, it's not Osaka.
Yeah.
She don't do dates unless it's Osaka, brother.
It looks like May Saruga isn't busy. She doesn't have a show that day. So
Okay. Get her in
maybe she announces something after the anniversary match. That's a possibility. So something to keep an eye out. That's at the Cork. And thank you everyone that has been listening. Thank you to Peps, Dylan for joining. Where can people find you on the Twitter / whatever it's called, X?
Peps, go ahead.
My new Twitter, because they love to suspend me, is Peps_wrestling. I normally write the Joshi guide for Wrestle Purists. They have great content. You should all check out the content there. And I also do the on the 5-Star Network. I do the Pure Gems podcast. I forgot the name. The next episode should come out like in a week. And the guest is actually Dylan, so we will talk about a lot there. It's gonna be a fun time, like always.
Yes, and that won't be us bickering over Hazuki and Micah being losers. So that's fun. That's fun. We'll talk about something else. Yeah, I'm XX Ichiban on Twitter because my favorite number is 21, and I am number 1. And yeah, it was I am
Don't follow
number 1.
yourself.
Hey, no. And yeah, I mean Stardom Quest every Thursday it comes out. Same bad time, same bad channel. No Limit is a show that me and Xavier run. That you guys should check out on the YouTube, and I'll be doing other stuff. Just get at me on Twitter because that's where all the things happen. It's Twitter, not X, by the way.
I literally have nothing to promote. The 5-Star Grand Prix is now over, so I have nothing to do anymore.
Scott is taking a nap.
I am. I'm about to go take a nap and some medicine because I do not feel great. But thank you for everyone that stuck around, for everyone that listens to this after the show. Suzu Suzuki is your 5-Star Grand Prix winner. Sorry, I'm not rubbing it in or anything, but the last few months of Stardom should be exciting. So make sure to check out the 5-Star Joe Show, check out Stardom Quest, check out Puro Gems, check out all the good podcasts out there talking the world of Joshi, but especially mine because this is my show, and that would be upsetting if you didn't. All right, see ya.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.